This podcast is sponsored by Xgrowth. Xgrowth is the APAC ABM agency. If you and your organization are looking to land and expand enterprise and mid-market deals, Xgrowth is the agency to help. Xgrowth works with a wide range of international and global technology vendors, service providers, and B2B SaaS companies. If this sounds like something you're interested to know more about, make sure to check out Xgrowth at xgrowth.com.au. That's xgrowth.com.au and chat with the APAC ABM agency.
What's up, marketers, and welcome to another episode of the Growth Colony podcast. I'm Liza from Xgrowth to tell you that each episode we bring in B2B leaders to chat about how you can achieve those everyday wins in the marketing world. Whether you're new to the B2B game, working at a leadership level, or even just showing some interest, we know you'll love the episode. So grab a drink, get comfy, and enjoy the show.
Hello everyone, welcome to another episode. I'm Shaheen Hoda with Xgrowth, and today I'm talking to Luca, the Stefanis, Head of Marketing Asia Pacific at Kyndryl. We're talking about how you can make your budget go further in 2023. And if you are in the B2B space, especially in the tech space, you know that's going to be a key component for this year with everything that's going on from layoffs and budget freezes and budgets being tightened. So on that note, let's dive in. I'm super excited to have this conversation. Luca, thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Shane. Pleasure to be here.
Let's dive into the meat and potatoes, Luca, and I want to hear about how you're approaching this at Kyndryl. So when it comes to basically doing more with less, the conversation starts to focus on efficiency and effectiveness, usually. How are you approaching your marketing strategy for this year so that you could incorporate both of those and hit those elements in the coming year?
Good question. And look, before diving into effectiveness and efficiency, I think I want to stop a little bit on your first point, which is doing more with less, which is actually something we are hearing all around. I have a slightly different perspective, at least in terms of when it comes to marketing. I think it's important to pass the message that is not about doing more with less. I think it's more important to shift the conversation about achieving more, which is more important. Sometimes we have marketers that are measuring themselves in terms of a volume of activities, how many things they are doing, a number of events, a number of participants. I keep telling my leaders and their teams, do less, but more relevant and impactful. So I think this is gonna be key as we are going through this phase in the industry. Then when it comes to effectiveness and efficiency, I think let's start first with effectiveness. The key element to me here is working in a close partnership with sales and being absolutely crystal clear about priorities, goals, and agreeing on metrics to measure progress. I think if you have a disconnection in terms of what are we trying to achieve, what are the priorities, that's where you are starting to be less effective in what you are trying to achieve. I think just to give you an example where this partnership with sales becomes absolutely critical. Account-based marketing is a big topic in the technology, in the business-to-business space. I think that's it has been debated, discussed in any forum, in any roundtable that I'm in. And usually the conversation is about what from marketing can we do different and better to make account-based marketing yielding more and be more effective. I think after practicing leading account-based marketing and after having been in a lot of these discussion, I think I came to the conclusion that we are not driving the right discussion when we focus so purely on marketing. I think account-based marketing, it's a function of three elements: sales, marketing, and time. If you don't have these three elements, time is allowing enough time for account-based marketing to work. Account-based marketing is never a quick fix, is never a quick win. You might have in a journey some quick win that you are happy and excited about, but it's really a long-term journey. And when I say it's a function of sales, it's not just a matter of account prioritization, which accounts we go after, which accounts we prioritize and we focus on, either in a one-to-one or one-to-few cluster approach. But really going down to the account level is about sitting down with sales leader and having absolute clarity on what is their strategy. Where do they want to be 1 to 3 years from now? Where are the growth areas, the growth opportunities they are seeing? What are the key stakeholders they need to start engaging and build a relationship with? And then you can build a marketing plan that is supporting these goals and these objectives. But if you don't have this level of clarity, you will just waste resources. You will do activities and things that instead of being focused, will just might have some yield, might have some results, but the outcomes could be absolutely random.
Luca, if I want to interject there.
Yeah.
And ask you this, because I mean I love the fact that you're kind of explaining this through, for example, the lens of ABM. One of the things you said is, hey, time is a factor, and I was actually expecting you to say something different. I was expecting to say, hey, it's marketing, sales, and customer success. But I really love the fact that you talked about time. And I do agree with you that it does take a lot longer. You might have success faster and in certain situations early on, but really the planning should be for long term. But what do you think, and what is your response for a marketer who says, hey, I really need to show results. The leadership is on my back, and we just had redundancies. And now I am responsible for something. I was speaking to from a very large organization, a marketing head of marketing for ANZ from there, and they're like, "Hey, now I'm not even responsible for pipeline. I'm responsible for revenue, which is all good, but the pressure is on for a lot of marketers, and whether that's wrong or right, let's put that aside." Let's assess it from the fact that it is the situation that a lot of marketers find themselves in. Yeah. What is your advice in that situation where some people are worried about, hey, if I go and say this is going to be a 2-year program, I'm going to get kicked out of the room. What are your thoughts on that front?
Yeah. Look, there are two elements to this. Good point. One is it really depends actually on the context and the business model. I was talking more from large services organization. If you are in the small transactional space where you need to volume of leads and every day you need to create leads for 10, 15, 20K, that's a different game. Here I was specifically focusing on account-based marketing and
larger deals.
Account-based marketing from a services large deal perspective.
But still, Luca, I'm hearing that from larger deals as well. But no, please go ahead.
On your second point is okay, but still 2 years is too long. Well, first we don't need 2 years to see progress. Are we building new relationship? Are we starting to enable discussion on new areas where before we were not invited at the table? Are we starting to see leads generated from this new relationship and new discussions that we are having with the clients? That's where then a lead is not a signed deal. But within the time frame which you want to give yourself, 12, 18, 24 months, I think it's important to build a journey and then to show progress at each steps in the journey. And of course, no one has patience to wait for 2 years to see some results. rightly so, because it will be wrong. But the point is to track, measure progress, and show progress. And show progress on what has been agreed with the sales leaders. Did we agree that building new relationship is critical on these three areas, cybersecurity, AI and automation? Okay, let's focus on these, let's enable these and see, and then we can start about building pipeline of opportunities in these areas with the stakeholders.
I love that. So create KPIs and success metrics for the right time frames so that you can create those short-term KPIs, create those mid-term KPIs, and create those long-term KPIs.
Yeah.
To show progress. Okay, got it. Love that.
On the second element, your second element of the equation, the efficiency side, I think it's going to be imperative through this change, because we are all going through some change. I think it's going to be critical to have a growth mindset at the leadership and the professional level. At any level in the organization, we need people that are embracing change, that are open to try the new, to experiment. We need an environment that is eventually tolerating failure, because trying the new and embracing change doesn't always come immediately with success. But that's the kind of attitude that we need within the marketing organization. And another critical element, I think, is to find the right balance, which might be different from the past, between localization and centralization of standardization, because this is going to be a critical point.
Okay, and I want to dive into that, right? I want to dive into that because I think we've talked about this. I think there's a lot of value in exploring that in the coming year. But I think the conversation around efficiency and effectiveness was very interesting. Talk growth mindset is another one. Before we move to localization standardization, I want to very briefly touch on this growth mindset that you talk about. I love if you could define that for me. Like, what do you mean when you say growth mindset? What does that mean for you?
For me, it means two things. When you're facing uncertainties, don't stop. A lot of people in face of risk and uncertainty, they tend to close and resist to change. We cannot have this. We cannot afford to have people that are resisting to change, that are uncomfortable with uncertainties. As uncertainties is a key dimension in our daily job. It was before. It is even more now, given what a lot of companies are going now. So we need people that are facing these uncertainties with high energy, that are willing to take risk, that are willing to drive change, that are willing to take feedback in the process of the change they are driving. Feedback, learning what is working, what is not working, and course correcting the trajectory. So basically, that's what I mean by growth mindset.
Got it. Okay, that's freezing up in the face of uncertainty and battling that. I think is such a critical advice. One of the things that I say to myself often is take action. Nothing is more dangerous than inaction, and I feel like it goes very hand in hand with what you're talking about, and it's very true in this situation.
Yeah.
Let's talk about localization and standardization. This is an area that you put a lot of focus on, and we've briefly touched on it. Let's first define it. What do you mean by localization and standardization?
Look, in any global technology player, there is always a tension, and sometimes it's a positive tension between global functions and local teams. Global functions are trying to drive top-down execution with a one-size-fits-all approach. Local teams, they are always trying to reinvent everything from scratch, say, no, sorry, it doesn't work here because of the culture, the client, our go-to-market, the sellers. so many reasons, so many excuses we are hearing. And by the way, I will defend a lot our field marketers in the country because I think they have the most critical job and the most difficult job. So I don't want to blame on them. But so there is this tension, which and we cannot hide, we cannot shy away from the fact that there is this tension. I think that the key element is to transform this tension in a positive energy that can drive the efficiency and effectiveness that we are talking about. I think a few elements to transform the tension into some positive energy. First, I think everyone, starting from the ones that are sitting in the headquarters, which is usually very, very far from the client, is to be truly client-centric. We need to have mechanisms in place to really understand clients, listen to their needs, and the field marketer needs to engage the clients. That's the first element. The second element is to create an environment where the best ideas win, wherever they are created. And then, when a good idea is showing to be impactful and successful, then replicate and scale. No one should, and this is true both for it's true for both the global team and the local team. We all suffer from the syndrome of not invented here. Okay, I think we should get past this and create an environment where best ideas win and just replicate at scale. And then these ideas should move from an idea that has been successful once with a client into a platform that attracts client, is enabling the field marketers in the country to engage clients in a relevant way with a simplified execution model. Simplified execution model because we will operate likely, or companies will operate likely, with fewer resources. So if this is the case, it's imperative to have a simplified execution model that is not putting too much burden on the field marketers.
I see. So think from HQ, think about a more standardized approach. First of all, number one is think about the customer more and think about how you can kind of get into the head of the customer because you're usually removed from the customer, but then think about how can you standardize that approach so that the localization cost is drastically reduced and that process becomes a lot easier because you're right. Like there's a lot of content that HQ produces, and by the time it reaches the field marketer, it's like, nah, I'm not going to use this. And you got a lot of wasted energy there. You also talked about the best ideas winning, and I want to talk about examples. I'd love to hear if there are certain examples that we can touch on where it ticks the efficiency, effectiveness, but also this localization, standardization box. Does anything come to mind with regards to your own role and what you're doing at the company?
Yeah, one example, one story that I want to share is a program we ran last year with The Economist in partnership with the Economist. A program to scale client advocacy, drive brand awareness, and strengthen our relationship with key decision makers. It's a thought leadership program, Profiles of Progress. The Economist, you can check it online. It's a very nice digital platform, so we also had a lot of print. And through this program, through this platform, we invited some of our most relevant clients just to share their personal story, their leadership style, the impact they are having in their companies and the society, providing them a stage to really shine, strengthening their eminence, and tell our story, and tell their story, As you can imagine, the fact of running this in partnership with The Economist was a strong pull factor. The Economist is a small but strongly recognized brand, a very powerful brand. It was a project that started here in Asia Pacific, and kudos to the global leaders that gave us freedom to run and execute this project. The project had initially very ambitious goals, and the ambitious goal was to attract in this platform 30 clients. And when I was presenting the initiative, even before we were getting started, some people were smiling at me. Yeah, this little kid, yeah, let's try. see where you go. Well, 6 months later, we ended up with 39 clients onboarded. And guess what? It's not just 39 clients from Asia Pacific, because at some point we decided, okay, it's good. It's proven that is helping, engaging key clients. So let's expand this program to any region in the world. And then we had clients from Europe, North America, Latin America, everyone benefiting from a platform where it's easy to put on the table of the client a proposal. It's easy to execute because an external party is running the operation to booking the client, running the interview, producing the profile. That's what I mean by platform. That's what I mean with the concept of the best idea win. That's what I mean by creating something that is easy to execute in the country, and is overall really is run with a very simplified execution model that is making the life of a field marketer easy, but with the opportunity for him and his client leader, his managing partner, to be very relevant when engaging the account.
That's very fascinating. First of all, 39 clients for an organization like Kyndryl is amazing, because we're not talking SMB. We're talking enterprise space, commercial space, and that is that number is fascinating. I'm also curious, Luca. What I get the concept where you kind of provided that platform for existing clients, which is fascinating for them to share their story and share their learnings. How did the team use that once, an article was published and came out? How was that used in some of your own internal communication and leveraged by the field marketers and by the team on the ground?
That's one of the good parts of this story. It's not much about internal communication. It's more about social amplification. And the best thing that happened is that, yes, from our side, we did our own part of social amplification, which had a lot of traction and was successful. But the best part is that clients themselves, they did social amplification because they were proud of this stage. We were proud of this opportunity. We were proud to share their story. From a humble beginning to I grew up, I learned this, now I'm transforming this. I really see a purpose in the work that I do and my company is doing. So really a collection of beautiful stories that each of the clients was really proud to share, and really had a ripple effect on social media with literally thousands and thousands of engagement and interactions. And again, as you said, it's the numbers might look small if you are operating in a very high volume small business space, but if you are operating like us in the world of the largest companies in the world, 75% of the Fortune 100 are our clients. These small numbers actually becomes extremely meaningful. Of
course.
And are really showcasing the depth of relationship and the intimacy that we have with these clients, and we are very proud to work in partnership side by side with each of them.
Luca, that's such a great example. I mean, it encompasses multiple different aspects. There's a number of efficiencies in there. There's elements of the best idea winning and then taking it global. Probably there's most likely there's a lot of standardization happening at HQ to spread this across the globe. What is your advice to marketers who are listening to this and they're like, man, yeah, I get this. There's some multiple factors that I need to take into consideration to get the results that I need to get with tighter budgets this year. What would be your advice now? Where do you think they should start, and what are your thoughts on that front?
Yeah, some thoughts on this. First is don't use a tighter budget as an excuse. To me, it's an opportunity to significantly improve how marketing operates and the impact that we can make on the business. So, and look, throughout my story, I always try not to find in marketing budget or lack restrictions in marketing budget an excuse for doing or not doing things. And by the way, when the right thing, the right idea is put on the table of the senior business leaders, they are also willing to go the extra mile in support. But then needs to be the right idea, looking at the right metrics and ways to measure the impact over time. So don't use it as an excuse, but really use it let's use this as an opportunity to transform how we do marketing. I think I said at the beginning, focus on outcomes, focus on impact, not on volume and number of activities. It's not about doing more or less, it's about achieving more, which can be done with less, absolutely. Double down on customer centricity. Talk to clients, to influencers, to analysts. Be out in the market. Don't use sales as the filter to tell you what the clients want, what is the right thing to do or not to do. Have a direct connection with the clients and with the influencer, with the ecosystem of influencers that are surrounding the clients, and to really validate your ideas and your approach, what can work, what are the needs, what needs to be done. On the growth mindset we mentioned before, learn, relearn, be curious, innovate. Achieving more with less will require a fresh perspective, will require new ways of working, and we need to do this at speed and at scale because there is very little patience on marketing and everything. There is a lot of pressure on the business, so we need to do things in a different way, and we need to do it quickly because we need to show results very quickly. So don't be afraid to test a new approach. It's a growth opportunity for individuals, for teams, for the entire organization. And last but not least, while doing this, never compromise for quality. Again, don't use the need for speed, the fact that eventually you might have fewer resources to compromise on quality. If you see that you are starting to compromise on quality, that's really the time to stop and say, okay, I really need to do less because we don't have bandwidth, because we are jeopardizing the quality of our work, of our brand. So always make sure you always have a very, very high benchmark. You always measuring yourself and your team and your organization against this very high benchmark, and use this as a parameter to understand also if you're doing the right things or not. When quality is missing, it's a red alert.
It's a red alert. I love that. I also want to get your thoughts on this, Luca. Before we start recording, we were talking about this, where it's so important not to listen to the hype that is happening. Previously was the Great Resignation 6 months ago. Now it's the layoffs, and it's real. People are getting laid off, and it is hard. But I'm also interested in what your perspective is in terms of what do you think is coming? What do you think the next in especially the tech space and the marketing space is one of the areas that is probably hit the hardest from the layoffs and what is happening? What do you think is coming in the next 3 to 6 months, and how, in your opinion, I don't know if you have any thoughts on this, but if you do, I'm curious to hear, what do you think how is the landscape, the B2B marketing space landscape is going to change?
Oh, I'm very bad at predicting the 3 to 6 months. So I think I want to skip this. I'm slightly a little bit better on longer term trends. I think there are a few things that will significantly impact the industry. Generative AI, I think it's coming huge. I think it will transform the way we work. Anything on the content and asset production, anything on the messaging, anything also on the ideation and creative space. I was talking to one of the leader here, general manager of one of the largest agency this morning, and we are really discussing about these topics, how it's really coming, how the disruption of generative AI is coming in the industry, which doesn't mean complete replacement of jobs, but it means we will play a different role, and we will need to use these tools, and we will need to have much more critical thinking to be better than these tools and use them in the right way. So I think this is coming for sure. It's coming hard. I don't think it's coming in 3 to 6 months, but it will really transform the industry, not just the marketing functions, but the ecosystem of agencies, big and small. And by the way, another thing that has been on the lips and the mouth of everyone in the last 12 months, it's metaverse. I think, that it's like AI for the previous 10 years. Yeah, there is this thing called AI, but it's doing nothing for me. In the metaverse, someone is doing some baby step, but I think transformation has yet to come. And again, maybe not in 3 to 6 months, but in this space, we will see a lot. I'm absolutely positive. And it's going to be, and that's the exciting, that's the exciting part of being in business to business marketing, because there are, or marketing in general, not just the business to business, because there are ways of transformation that are pushing ourselves, professionals and leaders, to grow, learn, and transform.
I love it.
Have you read the State of ABM and APAC report yet? If you have, you'll know that 59% of marketing leaders are intending to increase their ABM investment in the coming year. Even bigger news is 0% of survey respondents are going to decrease their investment. It's an exciting time for ABM in the region. Discover the state of account-based marketing in APAC today. Download the full report at abm.xgrowth.com.au/report. That's abm.xgrowth.com.au/report.
Let's do some rapid fire questions before we wrap up, and we'll go from there. So let me hit you with the first question. What is a resource? It could be a book, a blog, a podcast, whatever it is that comes to mind that has had a very profound impact on you, whether personally, professionally. Give me what comes to mind, even if it's more than one. Hit me.
I will give you one, but there is no single one. I think if you give me 5 minutes, we can come up with a list of 20, 50, or 100. One of the last one, one of the most recent is a book, Build, by Tony Fadell. Tony is the guy behind some of the most incredible product launches, iPod, iPhone, Nest. Great book. He has plenty of genuine, authentic lessons for real innovators, either entrepreneurs or intrapreneurs. So highly recommended.
I love it. We'll pull it in the show notes. All right. Question number 2. If you could give only one advice to B2B marketers, what would it be?
Stand up. Earn the trust of sales leader, of the CFO. It's a partnership of equals. I get extremely irritated when I hear marketers and marketing leaders saying, What's the value of marketing? How do we show the value of marketing? I never been in any conversation when anyone asks what's the value of the HR, what's the value of the finance function, what's the value of sales. So don't undermine yourself, but then also it's up to you to build, to have the leadership and build credibility, trust with the leaders in the company, which are your peers.
Great advice. Question 3, who are some of the influencers that you follow in this space?
Well, one I just mentioned, Tony Fadell. Another one who I like very much is Adam Grant. He's an organizational psychologist exploring how our mind works. He has a lot of very profound leadership and personal development advice.
Yeah, Adam Grant has some great stuff. Great stuff. Last question is what, and I feel like we've already talked about this a little bit, but what is something that excites you about B2B today?
Well, on top of whatever we said before, I think it's just that it's difficult, it's challenging, and it's really providing the perfect opportunity to blend creativity with data-driven, technology-led innovation. So it's really a wonderful space to be in.
I think you just put it so simply, and it's difficult. It's difficult, but it's rewarding. I love that.
It is.
Luca, it's been amazing chatting with you. Thank you so much for your time, and thank you for coming on the podcast and sharing all this insight. Really appreciate it.
Thanks, Shaheen. It was really a pleasure. Very nice conversation. Thank you.
Today's episode of Growth Colony was produced by Alexander Hipwell and Liza Maywald. It was edited by Dave Samito with additional editing by Liza Maywald and music arrangement by Alexander and Liza. Special thanks to Tina Wabe. We couldn't make the show without you. Growth Colony is hosted by Shaheen Hoda, Director of Growth at Xgrowth. If you enjoy the podcast, please subscribe and give us a rating on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. Do you think you'd be a great guest or just keen for a chat? Send through an email at podcast@xgrowth.com.au. That's podcast@xgrowth.com.au. That's all for now. We'll catch you next week, right here on Growth Colony.